Good morning, ma'am. My name is Regina Tunwai. The topic that I'll be discussing this morning is based from the movie The Will Rider by Viti Himara. So we'll move on to the presentation. Part 1 is the portrayal of Maori culture, characteristic of Maori culture and tradition. Discuss some of the major characteristics of Maori culture as reflected in the movie. Each culture has its own shows and countless the events. These traditions are broken when new generations are born. Maori custom keeps up that the authority should be acquired by males. Right when Pororangi and Rehua deliver a young lady, Koro horrified and says that he will have nothing to do with her. He says that Kahu had broken the male line in the community because, as demonstrated by their custom, that first-born child should have been a boy. His high standards makes him look headstrong, and that is the reason why he drives Spy away from him. For example, in the beginning of the scene, Koro went to see the baby boy and prompted Neni to eliminate Pai from where he is, and Neni refuses to do so. He insists for a male since he's stuck in his tradition that does not exist anymore. Koro Apirana refuses to acknowledge Pai as the inheritor of the show in cases she is no usage to him. He does not see that Pai is the leader that the people of Maori have been keeping it together. So we'll move on to the theme patriarchy. Discuss the theme of patriarchy. In Maori culture, leadership is given from the father to his first child, only if it is a boy. Sadly, the tradition was broken when Pai's twin sibling dies. Numerous Maoris, male and females, have contended that sex relationship in pre-contact times were not progressive. The film contends that Will Rider sends a risky conflation of portrayal and reality which at last re-verifies the developed convention of Maori male-centric society or Maori patriarchal society. The traditional Maori patriarchal society was depicted as the main anchor-bearers to the enlightened venture. This male-centric society prevents a grandfather Koro from considering Pai to be the common feature head of their clan. We move on to the comparison of Maori culture with their own culture. True comparison of Maori culture is reflected in the Will Rider with that of your own culture. In comparison to Maori culture with my culture, leadership is passed down from a father to his firstborn. Well, actually, in my culture, it's quite the same where leaders will be selected by the chief who is in control of the tribe. Leadership will be from generation to generation. It will pass down from the eldest to the youngest. But according to the Will Rider, Pai then soon become a chief. So instead of a male being a chief, a female can also be a chief. For this situation, I can say that yes, not only males can become a chief. For example, in my culture, Retemu Mukepa was the first Fijian woman to serve as the leader of opposition. She is also the paramount chief of Mburamba Sangha from 2004 till now. This was because there was no one in the family who still alive to take over, and then the opportunity was given to her to take over the tribe. In part 2, it's about gender and leadership, analysis of the final scene, Paike's speech, discuss the theme of gender, determination, leadership, hope with relation to the final scene and movie. Give relevant examples from the movie. Gender, according to this film, gender is one of the most important things that they should know. In the beginning of this story, only male was supposed to be the one leading a particular tribe. It is passed from the father to the son, and from the son to his firstborn son. But when they were waiting for their newborn child, Koro was full with a heart of expectations, expecting a son to be born, but then all went wrong when the twin brother died and then Pai survived. So he knew that Pai will be the chief when times come. That's why he started to disregard Pai. But at the end, Pai was then selected to be the new chief of the tribe. Despite being a woman, she had the knowledge of leading their tribe. Paike's speech Toward the finish of the film, Baker at the point gave the crowd a speech with respect to his affection and regard for his granddad, Koro Apirana, the current chief. Even though his grandfather was not with them, but rather still she has the intensity to express her speech out. She introduced herself first and stated where she originated from. His grandfather says this new conceived child will be a future chief, yet and totally turned out to be wrong when Pai was conceived. Pai was not the leader his grandfather was anticipating. What's more, being conceived, she crossed the line spirit to the old ones. Yet Pai then expressed that we as a whole can learn. If the knowledge is given to us, we can have lots of leaders. All that Pai wants to say is that it doesn't matter whether you are male or female. If you know that you have such a leadership skills and knowledge, you can become a leader. Next. Other modern day cultures with similar roles of ancestry and make leadership. Discuss any modern day culture that has similar rules about the male relationship. First of all, modern culture is the culture where it consists of the beliefs, behaviors, objects, and other characteristics common to the members of a particular group or society. Leadership depends on what your people need. This modern culture, leaders don't tell people what to do, but they listen and collaborate and encourage growth among the team members. In compared to the culture in the World Rider, they are to listen to the one leading that particular society. Only male can be a leader, and even if you belong to a chiefly family, then you can become one. It's the opposite from the modern culture when it comes to leadership. Conclusion. After watching this film, The Well Read by Witi Ihimera, I can say that it is extremely motivating and furthermore one of the extraordinary crowd grabbers. In the film, even though Pai was being disregarded by his grandfather Koro, she actually figures out how to proceed with what she is prepared to do. Notwithstanding this adoration for Pai, it savagely opposes this aspiration. Koro even reacts to Pai's determination by continually questioning her and examining her accomplishment. The harder Pai attempts, the more basic and disconfirming her grandfather becomes. Being disregarded causes her to feel strong and consistent, for she realizes that her kin needs her. One message that Pai attempting to pass on to us readers is that we can all be a leader. Regardless of what situation you're experiencing, be firm and be solid for what your identity is. She likewise implies that whether you are a female, in the event that you realize you have the knowledge and information, you can turn to become a good leader. Thank you for listening, and that's all my presentation for this morning.